of the Cape May County Chamber of Commerce. We appreciate your attendance here today. It's my privilege to introduce our speaker for today, and that's Bryn Tillman from Social Sales Link. You might remember Bryn from last year's Business at the Beach Expo, did a great LinkedIn session for us. And so we're just about ready to get started. We'll try to take some questions as we go, but maybe save most of them for the end. But we hope you'll enjoy the session. And before we bring Bryn on, Nina, do you have any comments about this morning's meeting?
So I usually just go over a couple of housekeeping items with folks. We do have it set up so that only our speakers will be unmuted today. Of course, we want to interact with you, and I think Bryn, will be asking questions for feedback, and we want to hear your questions for Bryn as well. So the way that we're going to do that today is through the chat box. You can find the chat box in your Zoom toolbar. So if you move your mouse, you'll see that toolbar at the bottom of the screen. You'll see a chat icon that you can click on and type your questions. You can go ahead and chat right to everyone in the public chat so that Bryn can see what you're saying and we can see what you're saying. And if you're on a smartphone or a tablet, you may have to tap your screen to see your Zoom toolbar and find your chat icon. Certainly let us know if you need any tech help as we go along. And other than that, I think we're all set. So Bryn, whenever you're ready.
Well, thanks. And my partner, Sally Jo Lamont, is here. Hi, Sally Jo. We're going to kind of be co-hosting this today. She joined me when we were down at the Wildwood Convention Center as well. And so we're excited to go through this program. Couple of things I'd love to do, just ask you guys before we get started, when you decided to invest 45 minutes with us this morning, what were you hoping you were going to get? We'd love to see in chat, and I'm going to ask you lots of different questions to include in chat, but we kind of want to know what you're looking to get and make sure if we don't cover it now that at the end, even in Q&A, that we do cover it. I'm also thrilled, you guys, if you have a question in the moment and we catch it in the moment, we're very happy to ask it, but we're going to go through the chat at the end. If we miss anything, we will definitely go by. Hi, Sally Jo. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm great. Good morning to everyone at Cape May Chamber.
So we're going to get started on how to build relationships on LinkedIn during quarantine. We're going to go through 4 major areas today. The first is, and this is one of the biggest questions I've been getting is, how do I reach out today? It's so different than 6 weeks ago, right? 6 weeks ago, what seemed, status quo, but now people are curious at, what's the shift? Some people don't know how to go after this. It's just, so we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about how do we identify the first degree connections that we want to nurture. So while much of what Sally Jo and I teach is how to prospect through getting warm introductions and permission to name drop through our second degree connections, what we're really going to focus on today is how do we nurture our existing connections that already know us or that we're already connected to in one way or another. Because that's really, I think, one of the most important things to think about right now. And then we're going to give you a jam-packed list of things that you can do to re-engage them, to get excited. And then we're going to do a little touch on thought leadership and the difference between thought leadership and content marketing. Sally Jo, talk about the elephant in the room.
Well, I love what you've been saying, Bryn. The elephant in the room is you're the only one in the room. Look around and you might be alone in your apartment or with your family, but the elephant in the room is you don't want to neglect to talk about the times that we're in when you first reach out to someone. That the adage of just checking in on you used to be like, don't say that. Well, today you can say that because you should be checking in on your relationships and seeing how they're doing. I think it's really important to always remember, what is your intent? And if your intent is to check in on them and really care about how they're doing, lots of good results will follow from that.
Absolutely. So something that we've been saying from very early on, in fact, this quote that we put out, I think very early March, is what inspired this whole program that we're doing today, which
Mhm.
is now's the time to build relationships, show real empathy, and be a resource. The sales or the business will come when the time is right. One of the problems that we're seeing, particularly in drip marketing, in marketing campaigns that were automated, is that there's still a lot of pitch coming into our inbox. Buy this, we help companies like yours do X, Y, and Z. And there's no like acknowledgement of the time we're in, as Sally Joe mentioned, right? There's no, we're acting as if business is usual, and business is not usual. And so our job is to make sure that we're staying in front of these folks in a way that's relevant to them. And that's what empathy is, right? That's really important to them, and that we're a resource. So I am not saying don't sell. People are buying. I booked my week in Wildwood now, right? Like I'll see you in August, and we may do a week sooner too if you know, we get the opportunity to do that. People are buying, right? They are. So we are not saying don't sell. We're saying don't lead with the sale. Lead with the relationship. If it makes sense, you know, we will sell, right? It will happen. So the goal typically, or actually, Joe, talk about the goal of social selling typically.
Typically, we talk about getting more qualified conversations, sales conversations, and using LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the gateway to getting those conversations, so that they're more warm when you finally get them on the phone versus cold calling.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I'm playing with the new phrase of converting content and connections to conversations, right? And so we're going to talk a lot about that today. In a crisis, the conversations have just shifted a little bit. It's not about how many sales conversations can I get on. It's how many meaningful conversations can I get on. Things that might lead to business later, right? So one of the things that we're talking about is, just because people are saying call me in June doesn't mean you can't engage with them now. You don't have to wait till June to engage because they said call me in June. That's just when we're going to talk about the sale. But before June, we can engage in a lot of ways. And who do we want to engage with? So clients, this is one thing, you know, we are really committed to going back to our clients, checking in and seeing how they are, and being a resource. We are not talking about our products and services. We're saying, how can we help you legitimately? Not charging necessarily, right? Like, what can we do? Where can we bring value? You know, what situation are you in? That often is leading to other business that we wouldn't have had otherwise, right? So we're having great conversations that are meaningful and insightful, and some of them just turn into help, and others turn into, you know what, this is really interesting. This is a good time to talk about it. We're not ready to purchase till we know how we come out of this, but it adds to the pipeline. And some are saying, let's go. Prospects, you have this obligation, and these are the people that say, you know, so those are your existing clients, but prospects that might have been top in your pipeline 6, 7, 8 weeks ago that are now you know, quiet, they've put you off, priorities are different, right? And we'll talk about those things. But if you are not nurturing them, they're vulnerable, right? These are people that showed a lot of interest in you and your business, but haven't committed yet. So if you are not nurturing them in the right way, and you're not staying in front of them, and you're not meaningful, they have no loyalty to you. They can go anywhere. So we need to make sure we're securing those relationships. Our referral partners, we have a little fun exercise we're going to show you how to do on referral partners. There is no better time to start more conversations with the people that have referred us business before. Our vendors, the people that are keeping us in business, are often under appreciated. So this is a wonderful time to reach out to, if you moved from a physical office to your home office and your IT person helped you, let's appreciate that, right? Anyone that has had any impact, someone that provided a software that helped you do X, not even related to the quarantine. This is a great time to appreciate them. Our coworkers deserve this more than anyone. They're hurting as much as we are, right? Like maybe as a big business or as a tiny business or as an entrepreneur, if we have coworkers and we're not connecting with them personally and we're only having meetings, you know, you're going to lose that real deep connection that you might have. And community leaders, I reached out to John, right? I reached out to all the chambers and the associations that I feel connected to, that I've worked with before, and said, hey, I want to help you. Sally Joe and I want to bring value to you and your members. No charge, no, you know, we just want to be of help. Think about what can you do? Reach out to the chamber, reach out to your industry associations. Where can you bring value? I'm going to do this one too, and then I'll jump into Sally Joe. Oh, hello. There you go. Fast fingers here. When we started teaching this, we realized there was a major gap, which is how do we organize this? How do we help people to keep track of the activity that they're doing? Because what happens is we're going to give you a ton of crazy, fabulous ideas, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, that was really cool. And then who do you do it with? And how do I organize that? So this first piece is foundational to the success of everything else we're going to say. We're going to show you and take you through this once. I'm giving you a moment right now to grab your paper and pen, because I'm only going to go through it once, because the biggest question we're getting on the webinar is, can you show me that again 6 times? So we're going to show it once. Nina's recording this, so if you do miss it, you can come back and watch it, but I'm giving you lots and lots and lots of lead time to grab a pen and paper, because even if you're like, oh, I don't need it, you're going to say, darn, I wish I grabbed my pen and paper. Okay. So I'm still giving you more time because I'm going to show you what you're going to get, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. When you export your connections on LinkedIn, you're going to get first name, last name, company, position, and the date you connected. I love that it's organized by the date I connected, because next week if I do another export, I can start with, this ended at April 7th, I can start with April 8th and all the new ones, and I can add them to this list easily. Now what I have done is I've added columns of all the things I'm going to show you we can do. Kudos, endorsements, recommendations, introductions, video message. We're going to teach you all of these things. There's a lot of things I told you jam-packed. I've created columns. Then I'm going to go through my connections and put an X next to a name that I want to engage and how I want to engage. This could take you an hour and a half to go through all of your connections. And by the way, only about 20% of them am I marking. There are other people that I don't, not that they don't matter, but they're not the ones I want to engage today. So I'm purposefully grabbing my list of every single one of my connections, and I'm determining who do I want to engage and what do I want to do when I get in front of them. And we're going to give you the what's, right? So I'm going to go into LinkedIn and I'm going to show you how to export them. Okay, ready? Step 1, click on the My Network tab. Step 2, click on Connections on the left-hand side. Step 3, click on Manage Synced and Imported Contacts on the right-hand side. We're only about halfway there. Step 4, scroll down to Export Contacts and click on that. Step 5, click on Connections and it'll say Request Archive. Connections, Request Archive. Step 6, put in your LinkedIn password. If you don't know it, this won't work. So you might have to reset it. Step 7, you will get an email in about 10 minutes. When you click on it, you will come back here. So step 7 is click on the link in your email. Step 8, click download archive, name it, and save. I'm putting that all in one step. And then you'll be able to open that up in a CSV file. And if it's on your desktop or wherever you download it, if you right click, you can open it with Excel. Okay, now that we have it, I cleaned it up a little bit, and then I added all the columns of all the things I want to do. Okay, once we do that, Sally Jo starts off with one of my favorite fun things to do.
Kudos. Why give kudos? It's so much fun to give a kudo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bryn gave me one a couple days ago, and it's a feel-good moment. So, Bryn,
So
you're going to take us through.
Yeah, what is a kudo?
It's just complimenting or you know, sort of a high-fiving one of your coworkers.
I like high-fiving.
High-fiving one of your coworkers, clients, someone who's helped you, and giving a shout out on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see, is this you, John? It looks like it probably is. Yes, okay. So it's a public postcard is what I like to say, that you put out there that's showing your gratitude to someone. When you visit somebody's profile and you click on the More button, the third one down is Give Kudos. So when I do this, I can look at all the options: outside the box thinker, amazing mentor, great presentation, making an impact. So I'm going to, you know what? So John Kelly, is there anything you can't do? This is you know, so thank you for all the amazing help you are providing Cape May County during this crazy time. You rock. Okay, I send this out. This is now going to go onto my news feed. It is going to notify John that I just gave him this kudos, which he's on the line now, but if this is someone that I haven't engaged with in 6 months or 3 months, right? It's like, wow, that's so cool, right? That's awesome. Now I recommend don't do more than 1 or 2 a day. The reason is this becomes your activity also. So if you do 5 or 6 and someone you give a kudos goes back and says, oh my God, she just gave it to 6 people, it lessens the impact, right? So just do 1 or 2 of these, maybe 3 of them a week, and spread them out. But when you do this, you're really having an impact on someone. And it's so simple. It's a free gift, right? And it's just kind of that first step in building a relationship. The next one I actually really love. So just share your thoughts around endorsement, and then I'll share kind of why I love this.
Yeah, so endorsing someone is really for a specific skill is what this is. So if you've worked with someone and they're really good at a specific skill, you can go to their profile and endorse them, and then your name will stay on that endorsement and follow them, and people can actually see who's endorsed who in future.
Yeah, 100%. Now, normally, I kind of go, endorsements. They're kind of like, whatever. It's kind of weird. Wait, let's go in. Right. So these are the skills that John has listed: marketing, networking, tourism marketing, right? So I go, I know he rocks. I personally know he rocks at tourism marketing, right? So I'm going to click on that. He is highly skilled, and we worked together on a project. We did. This is a project, but we, you know, and even, so I'm going to say we worked together on a project, and I submit this. So John is now going to get a notification that Bryn endorsed him for tourism marketing. LinkedIn is also going to prompt him to respond with an automatically pre-populated message that says, thank you for endorsing me for tourism marketing. Most people will click the button and thank the person automatically. This opens up the opportunity for a conversation, right? So John sends the automatic thanks for endorsing me for tourism and marketing. And I'll say, absolutely, I was thinking about the program that we did last year, same time last year, but in person, right? And you know, how fantastic it was to work with you and how great that convention was. So, you know, I just wanted to give you that shout out. How are you doing right now? What's going on in your world, right? End with a question, and now you've got dialogue back and forth with which eventually you'll take it offline and say, you know, sounds like you guys have some challenges, but your Jersey's strong, and I know you're getting through this. But if you're open, let's jump on a call. Let me see if there's anything I can do to provide some insights or help or whatever it is that you do. So the endorsements where I kind of discounted them 6 weeks ago are now starting a lot of conversations. So that's a big shift. LinkedIn recommendations. You want to talk a little bit about this?
Just that, you know, this is a really powerful tool, and it's a good time, especially if you have extra time in your day, to think of those folks that have really made an impact on your work life, and actually write a specific recommendation for them that you can send to them. Talk about getting their attention and making them feel good, that they can then post on their profile directly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's pretty simple to do. When you're on someone's profile, you'll go to the more, and then you're going to do recommend, and it's going to walk you through the steps of, you know, how are you connected, and it'll give you a box to paste your or type or paste your recommendation. The significant difference between recommendation, there's a few, but and endorsements and kudos, the first one is it doesn't automatically post publicly. Kudos post publicly, endorsements post publicly. John will get a little message that says, Bryn has recommended you. You can approve it and publish it. You can ignore it, or you can ask for a revision. So if I spelled John's name Jon instead of John, he may send a little revision back. Thank you so much for this amazing recommendation. Would you mind just correcting the spelling of my name, right? So I love the recommendation. Be very selective in this. People will use this forever and ever and ever. So I actually, Sally Jo and I took probably 6 years ago, a marketing course with, and it was amazing. So I'm happy with David Newman, who's here in the Philadelphia area. And I still get calls from people that he's prospecting because my recommendation quote is in all of his slides. It's on his profile. He uses it all the time. So this is something that could potentially end up on websites, right? So make sure that you are recommending based on your actual experience, that it's not just to get in front of them. It's completely, absolutely authentic. So just putting that out there. This is one of my favorites for chamber members, and I really want you to go through all the members that you've built relationships with over the years and make a list of 8 or 10 people. And so you go through, and one of the people I built relationships with over the years is John Kelly. So I say, reach out to John and say, hey, John, I hope that this is like mentioning the elephant in the room. I hope that this message is landing in a healthy, sane, safe household. I'm taking some of the self-quarantine time to continue my networking, and I'm reaching out to valuable connections and asking them, number one, are they open to networking introductions? And if they are, what types of people would they like to meet? So John says, oh, I really am open to those. I would love to meet business owners, or you know, I would love to meet other association presidents, or, you know, whatever that might be. And I'm just going to use for today's example, I want to meet people in marketing because I don't have time to like go digging. And I've got this one on the top of my head. So let's just say John wants to meet people in marketing. I'm going to go search. I'm going to click on search, and I'll say people. This is going to take me to filters, where I'm going to click on all filters, my first degree connections, and I can do, you know, in the free, you can only do greater Philadelphia area, unfortunately, but that's okay. and then you scroll down, and I can put in, let's try it. I'm going to do this. I don't know what I'm going to get. We'll do business owner. And then I'll go up and I'll put in Philadelphia. And I hit apply. Now, as I go through here, I have 42 business owners that in the Philadelphia area that John might want to meet. So I'm going to reach out. Michael, I hope this note is landing in a healthy, sane, safe household. One of my connections and friends, John Kelly, who runs the Cape May County Chamber, is interested in networking with business owners in the greater Philadelphia area. Are you open to a networking conversation? Now I send a message to Michael and to John when he says yes, and I introduce them. All around networking, this isn't about sales or prospecting. This is about having networking conversations where you can refer business back and forth eventually, right? Now I'm going to, this is a new trick. And I don't know how well it's going to work because we only have 42 people. But is your area code 609?
It is.
Okay. So I'm playing with this. If I hit 609, so that takes me down to one person. I'm just going to add to make this list bigger. Owner or partner or entrepreneur. Okay, let's see if I can make this list bigger. So, all right, I'm going to start over because I think this is going to help when I figure this out. So you're part of my experimenting right now. If I search 609, I want to know who has 609 in their profile. So 20,000, if I wait, let's see. 609, over 20,000 people have 609. You see how that area code is coming up? And phone numbers, people that have their phone numbers listed in their profile are coming up. So now if I go all filter, or I could just do connections, first degree connections, apply. That takes, I have 48 first degree connections that have 609 listed somewhere in their profile. It's not going to be perfect because someone might have 215 609. But I think, because I'm trying to figure out how do we get closer to your geographic area instead of hitting all of the 610 215s, 908s, right? All those other ones. So I think if you play with this area code and first degree connection, now you're not going to get them all. Not everyone posts their phone number, but I think it can help us. So, you know, we see he has 609 and we can look. So he's Cherry Hill. Okay, so we know where he is. He's up a little bit north of you guys. But if we look through here, see how his phone number is listed here? That's what the search did. So I'm playing with this, trying to kind of hack the system a little bit to try to get more relevant people. But this is a good way, instead of having to go all of greater Philadelphia, which takes you up to Princeton, you know, almost out to Harrisburg at times, right? Like if we use this little hack of 609, if you guys like this, put a little Y in comments. If you're like, oh, that's a cool little trick, because that's kind of, I think it's kind of fun. This is the first time Sally Joe is seeing this. What do you think?
It is. That's why I'm going, whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
I never thought to do that before.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did it accidentally and went, oh, look at all these phone numbers that came up. So now I'm honing it, which is awesome. Okay.
Hone away. That's great.
Isn't that fun? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Next, talk about engaging on their content, Sally Joe.
Yeah, lots of ways to do this. The first thing is make sure that you read the content. That might really be important. Remember, it's always about authenticity when you're on LinkedIn and doing business, so that you can go in and like their content. That's one way to engage on it. The more powerful way is really to be able to give a comment about the content, or pull out a sentence or two that really resonated with you and quote it, and then comment on it. It again, it opens up that dialogue with the person who wrote it.
So I love that, and people are putting this out there because they want. So this was just, I just landed, I don't know how to say, Mayoko maybe. So Mr. Taylor, we'll just say for now, so I don't mispronounce it too many times if people know him on the phone, on the call. So Mr. Taylor has posted. I've gone to his profile and scrolled down to activity, and I can see content, and he only has one reaction on each, which is pretty typical for a lot of folks, right? If I'm in all activity, this is everything. If he likes something, if he engages on something, if I go to posts, I can see the things he posted. Right now, 18 hours he posted, when do you check the social updates first time in the day? And I am going to actually answer and say A. I'm the first person in 18 hours to engage on this. This was totally random. This is what we landed on. How valuable am I to him today?
Yeah, because what happens with that post? It gets reposted.
Well, so right. So now my connections will see it. He may get 8 or 10 people now.
Right.
Because I engaged, right? And if any of you know him, go answer, because it'll make him feel good. Because he is in, I think he was in Cherry Hill, but which is South Jersey. So, but if we go right, I mean, it's not Cape County, but you know, if you know him, great. So this is just a great opportunity to get on their radar and make them feel good. I do recommend you don't just engage, that you actually comment. Now he asked for a comment here, but like Sally Jo said, read it. I love, if I listen to a webinar, if I listen to a 3-minute video, if I read something, I love to mention my takeaway, right? So if this were the case and I went in and I read this, and it's 3 types of toxic people stay away from. So I'm not going to engage on this because I personally want to engage on positive things. That's just part of my choice, not on Facebook only, but on LinkedIn. And so, but let's say I found like an aha moment from here that was really positive. I would actually take a quote from there. I would copy it and I'd go back and say, Mr. Taylor, thank you so much for sharing this really valuable piece of content. I loved the part that talked about paste the quote. Now they know you read it. It's interesting. You've made, you know, you've now you'll start much more of a conversation, because he might say, oh, what did you like about that? Or what resonated with you? Or you could say, it really resonated with me, right? And now that's so much more meaningful than great post. And they know. So I literally will take a line or 2, put quotes around it of whatever inspired me in that piece.
So Bryn, maybe a quick moment for a question. So if someone engages on your post, that opens the door to maybe messaging them the next step type of a thing, you think? Or
So many things. So now I can engage on that. And then, so I kind of play a little game a little bit. And if they have a lot of content, I may engage 2 times in a week, in normal days. And then I will reach out to connect with them and say, you know, John, your content's come out a couple of times and I've really enjoyed your posts, right? You know, I've engaged a couple of times. And I recognize it's been a long time since we last connected, and you want to know when it was. If I want to see when did I connect with John, I love saying, you know, when we connected. So if I go to contact information, I can go to the bottom and see we connected December 13th, 2015. So I love mentioning that. Although we saw each other last year, if you have someone that you connect with and you haven't engaged with, I might say, John, you know, I've loved the last couple pieces of content you shared. When I took a look, I realized we connected December of 2015, yet we've never quite had a conversation. You know, in this time of quarantine, I'm making it a point to network better and get, you know, to know my network better. Are you open to having a quick Zoom call? Just throwing that out there, right? Lots of ways you can do that. I think you don't have to play the game of touch it 2 or 3 times. I think you can just say, hey, came across your piece of content, really found it interesting. In this time of quarantine, I'm building my network and spending more time getting to know the people that I've connected. We haven't to the best of my knowledge, we haven't connected since we first connected in December of 2015. Are you open to just a quick get to know you Zoom call? You'd be shocked right now. Normally, I would not do that. People are like, I'm too busy. I'm not having a get to know you call. You know, there's no reason to do that. But today, people are doing it. So that's not, I would not do it that quickly, that obviously when people are crazy busy. But so many people are like, oh my God, I would love that. I've got, you know, huge spans of time and I know I need to network better, but I'm not. Here's an opportunity.
That's great. Thank you. And if people have questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll get to them definitely before we wrap up.
Awesome. Open office hours. Now you may say, what does this have to do with LinkedIn? The only part of LinkedIn that this has to do with is identifying who you want to invite to this and inviting them to this. This is not a LinkedIn feature. This is a feature. So if you have Zoom or GoToMeeting or whatever you're using, schedule an hour a week that you can invite your prospects and your clients in to ask any questions about anything. The first one, you'll get a couple, but it will start to build on itself. And you have to invite them. Just because you build it doesn't mean they come. So you have to invite a couple hundred people to get 3 or 4 to show up the first time. And then the next message that goes out, how do you do that? Go through your Excel spreadsheet with a column that says office hours and put a little X on everyone that you want to invite to your office hour. This is not sales, this is help, this is insights. So think about the value that you can bring to your network and share it. Maybe it's, maybe you have one. So I mean, this would be kind of a fun one for John and the group to do. We are going to spend an hour talking about the local restaurants that are delivering. And so we're going to pull up menus and we're going to talk about what's your favorite thing from this restaurant. They're delivering, right? And you spend an hour talking about the local restaurants in your open office hours, and we're going to give other people ideas. Like we sit around sometimes and go, okay, where are we going to order from? We already ordered from Michael's 3 times. We ordered from, and I need more ideas. How fun is this? I think it would be so much fun. So like those are things that you can do, and you can highlight businesses that are still open. Bring on the business owner in your office hour and talk about, the ones that are still open, right? And so start bringing people in. Just an idea, right? All of you have value that you can bring. Whatever it is that you sell, whatever it is that you do, there's some value and insights that you can share in an open office hour. This is one of my favorites, and this is taking what I just said a step farther. And I'm going to say, and Sally Jo hasn't seen this one either, because this is
haven't seen
live.
This one, so no.
So this is a new one. I'm going to start by saying, if you have income and you have some extra money, do this. If you don't, skip this. Everything else is free. This isn't. But this is such a great way to connect with clients and prospects and coworkers and vendors and community leaders and referral partners. Reach out to them and say, I miss having lunches with my network. I would love to treat you to a virtual lunch. Let's pick a time next week that works for you. Here are some menus of some local restaurants. Tell me what you want, and I'm going to have it delivered to you. And we're going to get on a Zoom and have lunch together.
Cool.
How fun is this, right?
Cool.
And
It's a great idea.
So we're supporting the local business. We're getting on a call with someone who will forever remember that you did this.
Right.
So highly recommend it. This is also really, really, really fun. I love this. Okay, let me make sure I can get to this. Hold on. It takes a second. There we go. Can everybody see my phone?
Hey, Bryn, we have a question. Can I throw it out there for you?
Yeah.
So are these features available that you've been talking about with the basic
All
LinkedIn, or do
free.
you have to subscribe?
Well, I'm only talking about the stuff that you can do for free.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. The only thing so far you have to pay for is the lunch. So everything else is free. So this is one of my favorite. And this is messaging. I have 100% success rate of engaging with someone from this tip. So I had one outstanding for a while, and then I sent a second one and he responded. So, but I'm going to click on the in, right at the bottom right, that's my LinkedIn app. And I am going to go look up John Kelly. Anyone you are first degree connected to, you can look up. Now, when I do this, I'm going to click on the message. You're going to go down on the left-hand side and you'll see that plus sign. When you click on that plus sign, you get all these kinds of different things you can send in a message, a GIF, an attachment, your location, a photo. But on the top right, it is a video. So I click on that and I click my selfie button and I hit record. Hi, John. Thanks so much for having me here with your amazing members. I can't wait until everything is open and I am on the Wildwood Boardwalk and on the tram car. I can't wait. Okay. So whatever it is, now I send that. This took me 14 seconds and he has a video message. You could do 15, 20 of these a day in under 25 minutes, maybe a minute to find the person and do the message. I have responses of other people sending a video message saying, you've made my day. I have responses saying, oh my God, that's so cool. How did you do that? I've had responses go, you have no idea how happy it made me to see your face. I'm lonely right now. This was amazing. Send a personal message. Go through your Excel spreadsheet and put a little X next to everyone that you just want to send. Hey, I can't wait till we can see each other again. Right? That's it. It has so much impact in building relationships. It's fun to do, and it's so, so, so easy. So, John, you're going to have to at least give me a thumbs up so I can continue to say I have 100% reaction to this. So at one point, if you let me know, yep, got it, perfect.
I don't want to mess up your batting average.
I know. So yeah, I have to tell everyone that. So keep that in mind. It's so powerful. We're just going to touch on create, curate, and share thought leadership. Because I think right now this is really important to understand what thought leadership really means. Yeah, the goal is to attract, teach, and engage. Thought leadership means you're teaching or getting them to think differently. But here's the difference between thought leadership and content marketing. And content marketing, which by the way, I believe in deeply. We have over 20,000 people on our email newsletter list because of content marketing, because we gave something away in exchange for an email. I am thrilled at how well content marketing works generally. Thought leadership has no expectation of reciprocity. Thought leadership is a gift. It's just ideas and insights and value that's being shared, ungated. I mean, I guess we're looking for like engagement, but we're not looking for anything in return. And right now, I think it's important that we focus more on the thought leadership side than the content marketing side. Right now, if you say you're going to give me something and you ask me for my email, I know that you're looking to sell me. That's fine normally. Right now, just be a resource. That's just my opinion on this. Now, at the end of the resource, if you want to move that into another piece potentially, but just think about right now being that resource and giving gifts. When we do this, we earn the right to have the conversation. Sally Jo, talk about this. This is your favorite line.
Yeah. So if they've read something that you shared and they found it valuable, they took the time to read it. Typically now they think of you as a thought leader, and now you're beginning to gain momentum to have that conversation. You can ask for the conversation after a certain amount of time. And typically they will say yes, because you've earned the right. To ask for a conversation right off the bat is not going to work.
Yeah, well, to new people for sure.
Typically, new people,
yeah. So there is an ask-offer ratio. And I will start I'm still giving him credit, although he said I don't have to. There's an amazing book. If you are a student of sales, the book is called Gap Selling by Keenan. And there's one line in his book that transformed the way I look at things. And I've taken it to a much deeper level than I think his intention was, but I still give him credit because he sparked the fire under me. Every single solitary thing that we do that involves someone else's time or money, there is an ask-offer ratio. I share a video for 3 minutes. You watch it for 3 minutes. At the end, the offer was the content in the video. So I asked for 3 minutes. You value your 3 minutes at X. At the end of the 3 minutes, if you go, it was not really worth my 3 minutes, you've now lost them, right? Your ask-offer ratio is off. You're asking more than you're giving. If, however, at the end of that 3 minutes, they're like, wow, I never thought of it like that. That was really interesting. What a great tip. And the content, what you gave them, the gift was worth 10 minutes of their time, but they only had to invest 3. When you ask for that conversation, they're excited to have it because they know if I could learn this much online, I can't imagine how valuable that conversation is going to be. So when you can master the ask-offer ratio, so where I used to teach, share a lot of content just to show up in the news feed, I've done a 180 after I learned this. So, and this was only about a year ago. And now I'm saying only share great stuff because every time you share something that's going toward your ask-offer ratio. So how can we be a resource to our clients, our vendors, our referral partners, our community leaders right now? We need to understand what their challenges are because they're different than they were 6 weeks ago. We need to understand what's changed in their business. We have to understand how they are personally impacted. I'm going to tell you a quick story before we start wrapping up. But one of my clients who is a leadership coach, we were going through the things, we were going through her Excel spreadsheet and choosing who she wants to reach out to. And she decided she wanted to set up Zoom calls with all of her past clients that she wasn't currently working with, just to check in. And Sally Jo gave us permission to do that now. We can check in now, just to see how they're doing. Where before we would never say, call a client and say, I'm checking in. They don't have the time. But now, as Sally Jo mentioned, it's empathetic, right? We're getting out there. So she called her, she connected on LinkedIn, she set up a Zoom, offered some, free leadership training when you're training virtual, right? So she was going to provide some great value. But in the conversation, when she said, what's your biggest challenge? He said, I'm a single dad with a 5th grader and I don't understand his math. I don't know how to do this new 5th grade math. It's foreign to me. And I'm having trouble. My biggest challenge right now is trying to support him in his 5th grade math. Apparently it's all different than how we learned it. So they went on and she gave some great tips on leadership and it was a fabulous call and maybe in the future he will rehire her. But after the call, unprompted by me, so I have no credit in any of this, she went to YouTube and found a video teaching adults how to understand the new math to teach to 5th graders and sent him that video. That's leading with a relationship.
Yeah.
That's leading with empathy. That's being a resource way beyond what we do. And when I heard that story, I got chills. And I said, I need to tell this story over and over and over and over again. Because this is how we need to be now.
Right.
And I think it's how we need to be forever. Like, I think if there's any silver lining for me, is I've shifted the way that I've thought about someone on the other side of the Zoom call, on the other side of the LinkedIn profile. the humanity that we are connecting with, the human being on the other side, not the prospect.
Right.
And all of a sudden I'm going, you know what? This needs to be the new way I think beyond this. Whatever going back to normal or the new normal is, yeah, this was put together pretty quickly for quarantine, but I just think this is relationships, period. So we need to know, what does their team look like? Did they have furloughs? Are they crazy busy? What does it look like, and what new solutions do they need? And your job right now is to figure out what insights and value you can bring them to their current state. What can you do? Not what can you sell them in their current state. What insights and value can you bring them in their current state? So my leadership coach client went to all of her former clients, and she shifted the way she presented and said, I would love to get on a 30-minute call with you and share with you some of the leadership activities that you can use when managing a remote team. That's not what she normally sells, but that was how she was able to bring great value to her past clients that got them on a call that she then connected to personally. So if that guy needs a leadership coach, he is hiring her. If someone mentions in his world that they need a leadership coach, he's referring her, right? Makes so much sense. The last thing is your profile as a thought leadership too. You need to be a resource in profile, but you also need to tell people that you're still in business. So we have shifted our headlines. Now, on the desktop, you only get 110 characters, which takes you to about here. If you have an iOS app on your phone or iPad, you can add up to 210 characters. So on the back end of my headline, I've added virtual instructor-led programs for sales teams that are remote. I want you to think about, what can you do temporarily to let people know that you're working with people in this situation. Setting up Zoom calls with people who are interested in X. I don't know. Let them know that you're still in business if you're still in business. That was a ton. We went through philosophy. We went through how to find your connections. We did that through the search, and we did that through exporting our Excel file. We went through engaging. We had a ton of ways to engage our first degree connections, and really how to move a little bit away from content marketing and be a little bit more on the thought leader. And I can breathe. I hope if you found this to be helpful, can you put like a big exclamation point in chat? Just like, yep, that was helpful. And then feel free, now we can open this up to your questions. And if you even want to share what your number one takeaway is or what you're going to commit to do, I'd love to hear that too. Brenda, thank you. I got 3 from Brenda.
Bryn and Sally Jo, wow, that was tremendous. You know, even the free version of LinkedIn is so powerful. And, you know, I've heard you speak, I think 5 times now, and every time, you know, it just blows me away. So I can't thank you enough. I think we learned, you know, how to reach out with recommendations and kudos and endorsements, and maybe get conversations flowing that way. Then inbound, looking at the reactions to thought leadership items that you've shared, and then some of the tools on the back end to start to build contact lists and things like that. So thank you so much. I'll give everyone a second, see if we have some questions here. It looks like everyone really got a lot out of it. And, you know, again, appreciate your time so much. We're just going to have you back again sometime, Bryn.
Okay.
And,
this time in person, I want to be at the beach.
Yeah, we had fun. We had fun last
Oh
time.
my God, we had so much fun. We just got up real early in the morning, walked the beach. I think we saw dolphins.
We did.
We
And,
did.
and your membership, the people in your membership are just so nice and so welcoming. It was really enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
are very fortunate, and we will make that happen, Bryn, I promise. Everyone on the webinar today, we thank you again so much for joining us and putting your faith in the chamber to bring you great information. Just remind everyone, next week is full of information webinars as well. Probably the best way to look at that is capemaycountychamber.com/events and see what we have coming up. But again, thank you so very much. All the best to you and everyone else. And we'll look forward to the next time.
Thanks,
Yep,
and
stay
wash your
well,
hands.
please. Yep, stay well.
Absolutely. Take care.